following program on Ada Derana 24 is classified for general audience. It is intended for all ages. It contains little or no violence, no strong language, and little or no sexual dialogue or situations.
Good evening. You're joining the Business Best, a platform for the best in the business and an opportunity for you to connect with veterans and entrepreneurs from various industries. And today we have a leading player in the aftermarket automotive components industry, RS Automotive, Ravith Silva with us, the founder, Ravith. Ravith, thank you very much for being on our show today. A warm welcome to you.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So Ravith, who is this versatile figure in the industry? You are into many different industries, but let's talk about yourself before we start our conversation.
Yeah, so I would say not many industries, but all within the automotive sphere itself.
Okay.
So I'm a chartered automotive engineer. So I'm a qualified, I got my qualifications from UK. Work for a few companies in the UK, few Fortune 500 companies, as in one Fortune 500 company, McLaren Mercedes, as a manufacturing engineer. And then work for another company in the UK and decided to head back to Sri Lanka and join my father's business.
Okay.
That was a maintenance business, so maintenance and repairs. And from there, the passion of designing and building came up. So I was always in the back of my mind, I always knew that I needed to make something. So whenever repair or modification came, we just designed it and made it. But of course, not on volume, just for that particular vehicle only.
That's one vehicle.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, you know, now with the current situation of the country and many how do you call it, supports from the many institutes of the government sector, Ministry of Industries, we are expanding at a rate. We are now providing to a few motor manufacturers, which I can't disclose at the moment for various reasons, but we are providing to motor manufacturers, global motor manufacturers, certain components. That was all thanks to certain policy decisions made by, led by Ministry of Industries. So we have a strong team of design engineers, researchers also within that group. And then we do the production of those components for the local market, and after sales, of course, we export it to certain countries like Australia and the UK. Certain components like safety pedals, certain electromechanical devices.
Okay.
On a we don't have a large variety of products, but in this sphere, I think we have quite a good niche market for our products.
Okay, let's talk about the products in detail. Ravith, you are the chairman of the Automobile Industry Council. So what's the role of you? Yeah,
so the Automobile Industry Council, that's a government-backed, private-led organization. So we have, I think the first time in the history of Sri Lanka, we had one body which has the support of 4 different ministries: Ministry of Industries, Ministry of Transport, Ministry of Education, as well as Ministry of Finance, all within the board itself. And then we have representatives from each of the industries with subsectors within the automobile industry. Namely, there's a representative from the vehicle assemblers. There's a representative from the brand importers. Global motor manufacturers, there's a representative from those brands. There are component manufacturer representative from that, service sector, and so on and so forth. So 50% is industry, 50% is government. So, I was, blessed to be made the founder chairman of this, unique organization. So we are facilitating the development of the automotive industry through mainly education. So, we are in a drive to get youngsters come into the industry, to seek employment in the industry, and for investors to see the opportunity, because Sri Lanka's IQ is far beyond any other country's IQ.
I agree.
On average. So any investor coming into the country, we can actually do a lot comparatively, but with the government support, of course. I think at Derana Studios itself, I had this conversation many years ago, and I said with the government support, this can develop. you talk about, you talk about certain industries, certain countries developing into bigger, industries and being global players. All of that happened through government intervention. As you now know, America is putting tariff and trade barriers to China with regards to EVs. That is to protect the local people.
Yeah.
Japan did the same thing after the World War, so that they could develop their own products. So initially, Sri Lankans, we did not like the Japanese products initially. But as time went by, Japanese products became higher quality.
Yes.
And now we are depending on the Japanese. So Sri Lankans as well, again, can do that. So as I said, my task of being the founder chairman is to put together these pieces and try and create the opportunities for the youngsters to seek employment, for the investors to have a return on their investment, and possibly connect to the global supply chain, and that will do wonders.
Yes. So what made you so passionate about the automobile industry? Who planted the seed in you?
Yeah, so of course, with everybody I think is their mother and father. So mostly my father, he's an engineer as well.
Okay.
So he
you are the first chartered engineer, if you...
not the chartered engineer, automobile. In the automobile sector.
The first automobile...
there might be there, but I'm not aware of any others. There should be many more.
Okay.
With all due respect, people like Ravit in the 1960s, they are far more, intelligent and intellectual people than I am. So there should be people, hidden gems there. It's just that this thing is to build them up. So as answering your question, my father is the one who, he did not push me into it. He let us do what we wanted. He gave me all the technical knowledge. He gave me the principles in this industry, the engineering principles to me to understand engineering. And so happened to be it, I was given some career advice from one of our clients, a Air Vice Marshal, retired Air Vice Marshal from the Air Force. He gave me a direction, say, follow the automotive, your father is my car doctor, why not you?
Car doctor?
Yeah, so he called my father his car doctor.
Okay.
I'm not a doctor, but yes, of course.
Okay.
That's how, the seed was planted.
Okay, lovely. So let's talk about the services you're trying to promote at RS Automotive.
Yeah, so we do white labeling. For those who doesn't know what white labeling is, if a motor manufacturer wants to develop a product but wants to put their name on the product, we co-develop it for them. So we do the development and the production. Of course, there are contracts and legal jargon that is there to be followed up. So the product goes into the market under that manufacturer's brand name.
Okay.
So everybody in the world does the same thing. They can open it up. We can put it under our name if the terms and conditions are met. Sometimes they are restricted, saying we can't sell it under our brand name. So in which case we don't do that. We just let market it through them. So it's a niche market, as I said. It's not a consumer-driven product. Half of that, but there are consumer-driven products as well, which carries our brand name to the market.
Okay, that is about white labeling, and you have other services like quality assurance, design and development, and you even do consulting.
Yes.
Let's talk about these services.
We do this, as in I do that on as a company as well. So first thing is, white labeling is a service or a product that we can give to them. But before that, we need to start designing a product. So if you bring a product to us, we can get the requirements gathered from that. What are your requirements and your targets?
Okay.
And we can start off from a blank sheet of paper, start researching the market potential on it, the engineering principles, the technology available in the local market.
Okay.
Whether, depending on the price, right? Cost factor. So if the technology is not available in the country, we need to get certain things done. So either the technology down or the product made from another country, so that we can continue putting value addition onto it.
Okay.
So the design comes into that. And then of course, we have our own proprietary design process. Okay. So we have our own QC design process that we ourselves designed. So we have the loop systems coming into it. So once the product comes out, from that a prototype comes out, that is production ready. Of course, it's a tenuous thing. Most people, they get the product done and they put it to the market, but we make sure that the product that comes out of our incubation system, the design is market ready and production ready. So if the production ramps up, as in the requirement ramps up, we can increase the production as well. That's where our production capacities comes in. We can manufacture it and give it to those clients who wants it. So giving a lot of opportunities to youngsters to get into production.
Even the prototype is market ready. That's your service.
Yeah.
That's where your service stands.
Yeah.
Right. So we have RS Automotive with us, the founder, Ravit Silva. I'll see you after the break. Welcome after the break, and you're with Business Best, and we have the founder of RS Automotive, Ravit Silva, with us. Ravit, we were talking about the services you offer at RS Automotive, and let's talk about this service you provide as a consultant.
Yeah, so without going into certain specifics, because most of the work that we do is covered by NDAs, so we need to keep to those, adhere to those. So what we do is, if a customer, if anybody comes up with an idea, okay, I need to have this product, or maybe let's assume a car. Nobody has come up with a complete car, build us this.
Because in Sri Lanka, as per my knowledge, do we build cars here in...
There is a good potential for it. We do assemble quite a bit of vehicles. I think the latest statistics are since 2021, since the import ban has taken place, we have imported 44,000 vehicles into the road. So about 6,000 odd four-wheelers and about 38,000 two-wheelers have been incorporated.
Okay.
So there is a booming industry. It's just that not a lot of people knows about it. But the little people do know about it. They are all asking for Sri Lankan made, assembled in Sri Lanka vehicles, because Sri Lankans are so patriotic. They are now asking for Sri Lankan products itself. Because why? When you import a car or a bike from another country, you are reliant on their supply chain to supply you after sales. But when it's made in Sri Lanka, at least the components that are made in Sri Lanka, if it goes bad, you can request for another part. The supply chain is here in Sri Lanka.
So
and not only that, the vehicle itself is about 30% cheaper than importing a completely built vehicle from another country.
Yes.
So that's
the tax is much higher when you
import as a complete built. So India, Japan, everybody started off like this. Not to put anybody's names, their first generation cars, yes, they were not so good, but my God, you look at the Chinese, the previous versions as to the Chinese that you are getting now, they are giving a run for anybody's money, because their quality is so high compared to 10-15 years ago, that we can actually accelerate further and higher than that, simply because we have the IQ, all the intellects are here. So people are realizing that, people are asking for it. So that's why as I said, pre-2020 we were not looking at production volumes, but now after COVID we are looking into production. So consultation comes from there.
Because with all the obstacles we had.
Yes, Sri Lanka always had, and now there's a great boom. The finance ministry is providing the necessary backdrop for the industrialists to come up, because we can't be reliant on one or two industries. Tourism and apparel alone is not going to be helping the country move forward. We have so much of debt to pay off. So the automotive industry is set to, as in there will be a growth process. So it's about a 20-30 year plan that we have to talk about. So in that plan, we are starting off with components, nuts and bolts, the small things. We are trying to incorporate into the vehicles that are going into it. Yeah, so if anybody comes up saying that they want a complete vehicle, yes, of course, the research required for it needs to be done. The design needs to be done. So whether we do the research and the design, somebody else does the research, it doesn't matter. We can collaborate with anybody. They come up to us. Sometimes they bring a vehicle to the country. They say, okay, we need, what can you do, add to this? So we just go there, do the research and say, okay, these components we can do. So then we work with the OEM and try to meet their standards, their quality. and we try to manufacture it in Sri Lanka. So of course, when you're manufacturing in Sri Lanka, sometimes the tooling is given from them. Sometimes we need to develop the tools ourselves.
Okay.
So that is the consultation level that we can do as a consultant. But as an organization, as a company, we can take it from just mere words and turn it into practice and get the product out to you as well.
So do you think that we have the talent to cater to this demand in Sri Lanka? What do you think? The training which is being given, and you are the chairman of this industry, and you mentioned that you are training a lot of individuals to be a part of this whole worthy cause. So do we have the talent, right talent in Sri Lanka?
So one thing straight, we are not, the council is not going to be training. We are facilitating the development.
Okay.
So we have organizations like NITA, German Tech, super organizations, Moroto University, super universities are there. There are private universities like CNEC, ICBT, there are countless organizations there that provides solid education to students. So, and as I said, I believe that Sri Lankans have the highest IQ in the world. Maybe certain countries fear Sri Lankans as well.
Very proud of Sri Lankans.
I am very, because you go to any company in the world, you go to NASA, you go to Tesla, any company.
Sri Lankan.
I think Jeff Bezos once told, he learned mathematics from a Sri Lankan while at the university. He used to do it in his head. So Sri Lankans are that. Jeff Bezos saying this now. I'm not, just not Ravith Silva. So Sri Lankans can do it. So education system is there. We have the talent. The only ingredient missing, as I said many years ago, is the support from the relevant authorities. But that too, you don't need to have the 100% support. As an industry, it's a demand and supply based thing, industry is. So as long as you can be intelligent about developing your own products at a cost effective way, in a quality assured way, and then gradually increase it day in, day out, of course the market will, come towards you, and then the regulators will support you. And then, as I said, the regulators have nothing but been supportive for the last 2-3 years. The SOP has been approved by the Cabinet of Ministers in 2021. Huge boom from 3-man assemblers in Sri Lanka. It has come up to 30 assemblers. 16 are starting work. So I think the first Japanese company, branded company, is starting assembly in the near future. This year or next year they might start. If the regulators continue to support the industry, because the moment they open up, it's a tedious task to assemble in Sri Lanka, because a lot of people have to be paid, they have to be recruited, they have to be marketed, sold, the cash flow has to be circling. So of course bringing a vehicle and selling it, anybody can do
that,
but are we going to do that just because we have money in the bank? As a country, central bank may have 6 billion, 7 billion bucks. Are we going to just keep that and sell it off to bring a vehicle and burn that off? Or are we going to be more intelligent about it
and proactively
and develop an industry where we can reverse this cycle of spending and make it an income revenue? Because mind you, automobiles are the largest coster of our forex. So we spend more than anything on automobile. So that is the only product that has not been open for import as yet, simply because it drains all the money out. And why? A car in Japan is about 400,000, for example, rupees. By the time it comes to Sri Lanka, it's about 4 million bucks. Who makes the money? Of course, certain people are paid off. Certain, they can afford to be paid off because they have a lot of money. Right, but then again, where does the industrialist stay there? So it's up to the regulators to, consider future of Sri Lanka or future of themselves. So as consumers, they have now decided that they are going to buy Sri Lankan, and that's about it. But regulators needs to look at this market. But then again, industrialists are not going to take it lying down, because 30 assemblers, as I said, has come into the market. 16 have started production. So that gives a lot of opportunities. Anybody who wants to do this, by all means, there are far brighter people than me, far more, investors are there. They can put in the money, they can spend their money on equipment. You can do a lot. As it with nothing, we have done this. So just imagine if there's a bit, at least, we can achieve a lot. So, It is possible. Anything is possible in Sri Lanka. Sri Lankans find the best thing apart from certain sports. We can do a lot.
So what's the demand like in the country and in the globe, Ravith?
So the global demand, I'm not looking at it at the moment. I think we should not be looking at the global demand as at yet, because we are not ready to export. It takes 10-15 years in the local market. But then again, once you get a product, for example, let's take a certain component, let's take a pedal system. We develop a pedal system for the local market and we get the approval from the OEM, the motor manufacturer himself. Once we put it out in the market in the local vicinity, we sell about 10,000 units, let's say 5,000, 10,000 units. Then we can prove that the product works. We get market feedback, longevity, quality is assured, and then we can start discussing with the global supply chain. But when we are going to global supply chains, then that is one of the very important factors. Sri Lanka is situated in the best shipping routes possible. We are right bang in the middle of this, so it's the cheapest for big vessels to come in and transshipments to happen. In 30% of India's shipments go through Sri Lanka, because big ships doesn't want to go all the way to India. They want to call on Colombo port and then from there reship it to India through small ships.
Okay.
Right. So Sri Lanka having the industry here, if we get the OEMs and if the negotiations can be done properly, and if the cost of goods, those components made, are globally competitive, then of course we can get it. So car, I'm not looking at cars. So if let's just take a 8mm bolt or 10mm bolt, if you start making that, there's about at least hundreds of thousands on a car into all the cars.
So,
all brands require it.
Yes.
Right? So that's where the components actually work, not the car. The car is just the bait. But the component is the money maker. That's what we need to understand. So are you going to risk everything for a car? Or developing
starting small, that little thing.
Yeah, and I think the president and the current ministers, the politicians are looking at it. But then again, the industries have to push it again, as I said. So there's a good market, good opportunity. Sri Lanka has about 8 million vehicles. Out of that, 6.9 is roadworthy. But the current fleet is at least 5 years old. So we have not seen any new vehicles, considerably new vehicles come into the market, apart from the 44,000. But if we keep at it, the numbers will go up. In 2021, the numbers were very small. 2022, it was higher. 2023, it was higher than that. 2024, it started to be higher. I know of one motor assembler, they started off with about 200 per batch. Now they are charging 1,200 per batch. 6/4 they have increased. One assembler I'm just talking about, without naming them. So, within 3 years, they were able to do it 6-fold.
Yes.
So if we keep at it, and they put about 25% of the bike is made in Sri Lanka. The bike is not made in Sri Lanka, but the 30% is made.
Yeah.
So at a stage, if somebody investor comes up and says, "Oh, I want a bike under my name," maybe like Toyota, somebody Sri Lankan guy comes up with some name, he wants to have a car or a bike, we have the components ready to supply him with. But now, if anybody wants to make a car, the supply chain is not so big enough. That's where we come in. We provide them the services.
RS Automotive. And Ravith, how can they connect with you?
They can connect through my mobile or come to our website, rsautomotive.com or 0714 755 356.
Thank you, Ravi. Thank you very much for being with us today, despite all your busy schedules. And I wish you all the very best with this worthy cause.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. Good luck.
Yes. And let's start small, not the vehicle, but let's talk about the component. So if you couldn't watch this program, you can watch us on youtube.com/Derana English. I'll see you next week with a similar promising discussion. Have a pleasant evening.